Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, and welcome back to Sandy Bay. So it is day 5 of spring. I skipped ahead a couple days. All I did during those days was I kept the supplies for our animals topped off, at least the water. I believe they're eating from their own pastures, because when we look here, when we look here, the amount of food that they have is more than I've been giving them. So I think this map may have the mod where they eat from their own pasture grass. And it also seems like this smaller pasture, even though there are 150 sheep here and down at the lower pasture, it seems like this number drops a little more quickly, and because this pasture is smaller, right, that would all make sense. And then we do have the water pipes installed, so we're able to keep the water topped off without a trailer, no problem. We're making wool. Hey, there's a little bit right there. We're making wool, and I've been putting it in this barn right here. I believe this is for crop storage, specifically root crops. And I'm told that in the UK, you can just dump crops, like grains, you can just dump them right on the ground in a barn like this, and then scoop them up, pick them up, and take them where they need to be later. But for now, we are going to put our wool in here, and we are making plenty of it. But we're doing okay on money. So I think we'll leave that there until we have a great demand for it down at the spinnery. Oh, one other thing. We had a Claas 900 just on, tires, regular tires. I swapped that out. This is not from the Claas Platinum DLC, but it is by Giants. And I believe it's the same, one of the same models from the Platinum DLC, and then they just put the TerraTrack treads on it. I figured let's have some fun. This is a fun map. It is. It's not, it always sounds weird when I say this, but it's not as serious a sim as 17, but in its own way it's fun, and in its own way it's more fun because it is a little bit less serious. It's less of a simulation and more of a game is how I think of 19. So what else? These pastures here, I told you we wanted to test and see, is this crop grass or meadow grass? It is meadow grass. It cannot be fertilized, so we will just mow this when it's ready. I mean, we could mow it right now, we wouldn't get a very good yield. It's only first harvest stage. And then the meadow next door with the sheep in it, I will always do that off camera because we're going to have to drive right through the sheep. And that's, it just looks weird. And then we've got one more pasture over here, which would have cows in it if our dairy was open. At the moment, it is not, but we can mow this grass as well. So we'll do that. Probably next episode we'll get to mowing. This episode, wow, there goes my voice. How'd we do? 3 minutes, 11 seconds. Oh, voice, what are we going to do with you? This episode, we are going to spray the fertilizer that we loaded up last episode. And I always review these videos before I post them. I like the idea of the hose system. I just feel like we're one generation away. We're one iteration away from having host system work well enough that it's worth the trouble. I love the idea, and I love the process. I think it would be great to have it work better. And I'm not throwing shade on the modder. I know it's got to be an incredibly difficult thing to do. This game doesn't have much in the way of like soft body physics, but it is when you think that one option is to do what we did last episode, which was a bit cumbersome, and then the other option is just to pull up next to the tank and hit a button. That's a tough call to make. All right, nobody escape. Nobody make a run for it. And where's this little? Yeah, I knew there was one behind me. They're everywhere. Right, and I think that's it as far as bringing you up to speed. Now I am seeing a few weeds sprouting in our canola, and I believe if we get to those weeds while the crop is in this growth stage, I believe we will be able to knock them down. And we'll spray the entire field. We won't just spot weed. We'll spray the entire field, and then that will cover it so there won't be any additional weeds that pop up. But I think that has to happen at a specific point, and I haven't, as much as I've played 19, I haven't ever really gotten a handle on that, when that time is. I thought it was the first or second stage, but maybe it's only the first. I don't know. I guess it could depend on how the map maker configures seasons or what geomod you're using and various other things. But we do have just a few weeds. And I think climate here is fairly mild. And that means we will stay, hopefully, we'll stay not irrigated, but we'll keep some water on the crops. And we will hopefully not lose anything to, everything germinated, as far as I know. We won't lose anything to frost, and we won't lose anything to drought. I hope. I hope. All right, so we're coming back here in the corner to get turned around. And something that I noticed about vehicle control add-on, you know, it does have that sort of rudimentary GPS function in it. Well, it's more than rudimentary. It's fairly comprehensive. But for a time, it didn't have I guess, an auto width. I think it does now, because when I went into the menu to configure this tool, you can see the working width is already set to 21, and I didn't put that in there. So I think it does now detect the width of the tool that you're using, which is a very cool thing. It doesn't take that long to go into the menu and do it manually, but you know, we're pretty demanding creatures here on the farm. Let's see. We do have row crop tires on. We do have crop destruction on, I believe. Well, let's find out. Let's drive into the field and see. Yeah, we just go right through. Okay. Suspend your disbelief. Not entirely realistic, but what can you do? And I did come in and set this up so we're right at the corner. I set it up so when we do our outermost row, our boom will be right at the corner, and that means we need to align ourselves inward a little bit. And then try to just guesstimate. Let's at least, hey, don't drift. Let's at least see where our track is so we can, all right, it's right there. Perfect. So we'll back this up, and as always, we're gonna half role play it and half just kind of split the difference. So what we want to do is start this spray far enough from the edge of the field that we don't have tremendous overlap, but close enough to the field that we don't have any gaps. Close enough to the verge, sorry. So we will, how wide is 21, and where would it be? Right about there? Close enough. All right. And then same thing when we get to the other end. Although this is let's assume this is a GPS controlled sprayer, and so it would have nozzle cut when we get to a part of the field that we've already sprayed. I know that's a thing in real life. Right about there. Right about there. Right. And then we'll flip around and do the next one. Man, I would love to see tram lines in base game. I think that would be so cool. All right. Oh, and every time I hear the plane, I have to... Nope, just a biplane. I do want to find those, that flight of 3 Spitfires for you again. A very cool little detail. All right, like there. And with the edge of this field being somewhat irregular, yeah, I think we'll be all right. And as I said, we'll just assume that this is GPS controlled, and we'll handle the overlap for us so we have as little as possible. Now, I am curious what we're going to do when we get down to those power poles at the other end of the field. There are a lot of them, and they're fairly close together. So we'll need to come up with some kind of fix for that as well. I thought about using a broadcast spreader. Broadcast spreader makes a lot more sense for this type of field to me as a non-farmer, because you don't have to worry about the booms hitting those power poles. And how do we want to do this? Can we... Nope. I'm going to hit the tree, so we'll back up here. I know, we're just driving all over our crops. That's what I want the tram lines for, so we can see some kind of a path, some kind of a pattern to know where we can and cannot drive. Right. So right down here, and right about here. There we are. So yeah, broadcast spreader I think would make more sense, because you could get it between those poles without worrying about the sprayer booms hitting them. But we use broadcast spreaders quite a bit. We're using them on the Western Shore. We use them a lot. So I thought, let's use the sprayer. And we will have to spray for weeds because we're in 19 now. And I believe the only thing we only have liquid herbicide. There's no pellet herbicide. So we would have to use the boom sprayer for that. If we have to have it anyway, we'll use it for our liquid fert as well. And I guess we could use the weeder, but I never really figured out the weeders. And I think on a field this big, well, first off, is there a mechanical weeder? I think there is. That's a real thing that really exists. That's not completely made up. So those exist, but would you use one on a field this big? And that would take forever. And it seems, I don't know. I mean, I got my little herb garden going in real life, and I'm very careful of my plants this early in the spring because they're a little bit fragile, you know. Growing, germinating is kind of a traumatic process to an organism. So you want to be as careful with your plants as you can be. And I would think that driving a weeder back and forth over them, even if that's what it's designed for, that's got to be a little rough on the plants, you know? Oh. So I don't know if you would use a weeder on a field this big, but we're going to go with the sprayer instead. And I think, yeah, our next row is going to take us into those power poles. All right, looking forward to it. It's very exciting. We'll have to see how it all works out. And we're going to mow over there. I'm going to spray for weeds off camera. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, and I guess after we bring in this canola, is that time to open the dairy? Oh, it makes sense. I mean, we already own it, and it's right over there on the same property we have. And hopefully by then, if we've mowed and baled, we'll at least have some hay bales for our cows. And silage bales, I mean, we can buy them. If anything, when we're mowing, rather than making hay bales. All right, let's see if this works. Rather than making hay bales, would it make sense to make silage bales and then buy hay bales? Because the difference in price is pretty significant. So make the thing that's more expensive so we don't have to buy it, and then buy the thing that's less expensive with the money we saved by not buying the more expensive thing. It's possible that only made sense in my head. That is very often the case. Right. So this row is going to take us down to the power poles, and then from there, let's see how it all works out. These fields are, I'm used to, coming from the Western Shore, I'm used to those fields, and they are dramatically smaller than these. I know, different farm, different map, but it's still, I'm spending so much time on Western Shore, it really is kind of a jolt to work in fields this big again. So, you know what I might do? In fact, yeah, that's what we're going to do. When we get down here, let's sort of change course a little bit, and let's drive up one side of the power poles and down the other. Rather than trying to work through them. Yeah, I mean, we really can't work through them. They're small enough that we really can't. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. So we'll go all the way to the edge of the field. And, I mean, while we're down here, I suppose we could do that little triangle on the other side. No, we won't, because we're going to need to fold this thing to fit it through there. All right. Let's do this. Yeah, we'll go up one side, we'll go down the other. I feel like this is becoming a bit of a mess. All right, so we'll head forward. We'll spray from there, and we'll try to get right up to the edges of these. All right. Okay, concentrating. Yeah, unfortunately, the overlap, I think, is something that can't be avoided. And we just need to use our creative imagination to think about some type of GPS-controlled system. Right. Up here, and we're going to pick it up from here again when we make our headland, but for now we're going to loop back around. Yeah, we wouldn't just be driving all over the crop. Even with the row crop tires, we couldn't do that. I don't know why that's always bugged me. Alright, so now around here, and because we have sort of a de facto headland behind us now, or to our left, then we can start back here. Start back here. And cover everything. Okay. Well, hopefully we don't have... Where are we at on time? 15 minutes. It's about right. So hopefully we don't have too long to go to get this done. I will finish up that little triangle back in the corner. I'll finish that up off camera. I will spray this other field right there. I'll spray that off camera. Take care of the weeds. And next episode, we'll skip forward a couple more days and start mowing. All right, that works. So peaceful. And where is that? I think that's coming from, is that, yeah, that is the airport over there. So the plane just took off. I think something else I need to do at some point is go over and just sort of post up by the airport and watch the cycle of that plane, see what it does, and just the whole animation that the map maker put in. Very cool little detail. All right. So we go right about... I guess we need to go all the way up here. Yeah, we do. Right about here. We may... Nope. We may not. All right. Right over here. Back on GPS. And I think I'm trying to... No, we'll need one more length. Will we? Yeah. It'll be a short one, but we'll need one more length, and then we can start our headland and go clockwise from that corner right over to the other side by the power poles. Okay. Cool. Well, it's working out. It's getting there. And we're going to be okay. Yeah, we'll be okay on the right. Just looking at the angle that we're coming into those poles, I was wondering, are we going to clip our right boom? But we got clearance there. Perfect. All right. There's that one. Yeah, I suspect in real life you would use broadcast spreader on this field. I don't know. It just seems... I mean, I know map makers put in things like power poles to challenge us and give us problems to solve. But I think a broadcast spreader would have made more sense. But like I said, we use them all the time, so use something new. Use something different. All right. Right up here. About like so. And now our headland. All right, get the booms back over the field. All right. There we go. Is that our guy again? Saw the shadow. Yep. Yeah, there he is. All right, right around this corner. So far, so good. Yeah, and I could have, I guess, stopped some of these lengths a little further from the edge of the field. Yeah. Right around there. Yeah, these are a little better as far as where I stopped. Yeah, still not perfect though. Too much overlap. Oh well. All right, and I think, yep. Oh no, there's one more. Yeah, we're still away from the power poles. So there is one more little triangle back there. But it does take us out right to the gap in the hedge to get over to the next field. So that worked out. All right. So right through there. Stop that. Fold that. Back this up. And there you have it. All right. Yep. Cool. And we'll need to do that one more time. You know what? Maybe next time we will do it with a broadcast spreader, since we've done it once with a sprayer, and we've only got 2 layers of fert on here. We still need a third. Yeah, let's do that. Next time around, we'll use a broadcast spreader and get in through those power poles. There you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 19. This is Sandy Bay, and we'll see you next time. Take care now.